You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. Instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it. It was you, Joe.
And here we are, Pyro. There's a saying which goes, if you want a job done well, then you got to do it yourself. And for a long time, I've been trying to get a former player to come onto the podcast, and I've been unsuccessful. So I had to be that former player myself. Okay, well, episode 17, just me and you, Pyro. We're gonna call the action tonight.
I'm all right with that. It's some of my favorite casting booth energies. So why not make it a podcasting energy as well? Such a exciting and fun and historic weekend. I can't believe that I am finally achieving one of my dreams, which is casting with an RLCS Pro. I'm just so many bucket list items being checked off here. I can't wait. Of course, we got to round up how the event's gone so far, but we got to hear more from this experience from you, what it was like. I'm just excited to get into it.
It was very interesting. I enjoyed the entire process, the conversation with the teams, the setting up of scrims. I think we had scrims just about every night last week. We scrimmed Unity. We almost scrimmed WRG, but that kind of fell through. Who else did we scrimmed a bunch of people, and it was so cool to be a part of that whole process. And then the actual competing, and Pyro, for years, I almost never stream my own gameplay because it's so dodgy. And it just feels so, anyway, but sure. Then to sort of have a whole production team in and it was a wonderful experience. I had great games. I had horrendous games. Swiss was a disaster in terms of my own contribution, but we had and by hook or by crook, we got to round 4 of Swiss, courtesy of a DQ in round 3. But yeah, I believe will be, once Onyx gets around to issuing it, the oldest RLCS title holder in the game. And my general policy is state it as fact until someone brings evidence to the contrary.
That's right. That's right. Hey, it's true in my book. It's true in yours. What book matters more? I feel like you got the true SSA experience going through a round from a DQ. I am surprised that you got the real pro experience of getting scrims in. I just feel like we're at the end of the season, right?
Yes.
Every team split up, and it's like who's still, how many teams are like really hard-nosed scrimming? So the fact that you got some of that in is so cool. I was able to pop in and out, and I have a question. Yes. I saw the Esper.
Oh, yes.
Give me the context there.
So,
why is there an Esper on the field grade?
It's not so much that it's the Esper. My general policy in Rocket League is any car, as long as it's not an Octane, a Fennec, or a Dominus. That's kind of the phase I've been in for about 8 months. I'm like, I've made it a completely irrelevant principle that I'm not going to use those 3 cars because everybody uses them. So I have a host of cars I kind of cycle through, and the Esper was feeling. And I got to say this about the Esper: when I was in game in the lobby or in the starting screen, I saw the Esper next to a Fennec. And I was amazed at how big the Esper actually is. It feels like a small car, but it's the same size as a Fennec. It stands up, and I was like, and after that, I felt very confident in it.
Wow. Hey, that's something. You know what? Everyone kind of changes the preset. I think less so for what the car is going to do on the field and more so for the mental. So like having that realization in the starting suit screen is so funny to me because it's so real. The mental effect is so real. I know everyone's got their favorite non-main car out there, but I'm still going to put you on one. If you haven't used it, the Harbinger Okay, it came out
Really?
in season 1 of free. Yeah, it came out in season 1 of free to play. And I
Yeah.
know you've played the game forever, so you have the
Yes,
car.
I definitely have the Harbinger.
Yes, it has the Octane hitbox. I think it fits it better than the Octane or the Fennec. And it is the first car I ever got Grand Champion in. So I still use it to this day every now and then. Give it a shot.
I will.
I'm just putting that out there.
It is on my list. In fact, as soon as Just Saying ends, I will be back in game and I will be rocking. I will be rocking the Harbinger. And then in closing, I have to shout out Four Fears and Marine Region, who gave us warm-up scrims. So warm-up before the start of the day, Four Fears on Saturday, Marine Region on Sunday, which was really, really cool of them. So, shout out. And then, of course, shout out to, I don't know if you've got peeps in your chat there, Pyro, but in our chat here, we've got Jerome, Marcy, Borky, Raid, Stabby, and Raku. What's up?
I see Achilles there in the beginning as well. What's up, Stabby? And yeah, good to see everybody. We've got some fun things to get through today. So yeah, let's get to it.
Let's get cracking. Enough about me and my forays. Let's get into why we're here. Professional Rocket League. And the first shout out we got to give is we have 2 top 16 debutants. And Pyro, I don't know if you know either of these 2 guys, Minotaur and Dreezy.
No, tell me all about them because I am in the dark here.
All right, so they're playing for La Masia, one of the teams that, in fact, they sent us to the lower bracket on Saturday, I believe. Or did we beat them? No, I'm pretty sure they hammered us on that. They were the reason we went to the lower bracket in double elims. So it's Minotaur, Dreezy, and they have Sully, formerly of Thrive to Greatness. He's their EU player. And he made a debut top 16 with Thrive to Greatness, but Thrive to Greatness kind of fell apart, and Minotaur and Dreezy picked him up, and they make their debut. Now, Dreezy, I know of, he's been around, he's played RSC, he is around 20 years old. Now, Minotaur is the particularly... Yeah?
Oh, I said okay. I'm following along. Yep.
And then Minotaur... I met at the ACGL LAN, their inaugural LAN in Cape Town, July of 2024. And he was a young 13-year-old student at Thomas More, which is Ultrism School.
And, no way!
Yeah, so a student of Ultrisms, and Ultrism was like, man, you gotta check out this kid, and check out this kid. I did at the LAN, and he did well, and he's been I don't think he had the opportunity to play as much, but I've seen him there and thereabouts and around, but now in a top 16. For the final Open of the season. So he's 15 years old. So another youngster who may be, if all these youngsters coming in now, our, 2029, 2030 is going to be pretty banger.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we're always trying to keep tabs on who's up next, and usually up next is when they make their breakthrough, and they're on these big teams. But really, we got to look at the beginnings. So yes, I love this segment of top 16 debut. We do like to say that, 15 years old, that is very young, but Graybeard, now that you're an official RLCS pro, I think all of these players are young.
Yes, very, very true. I mean, just what a fun fact, the combined age of, firstly, the average age of my team in RLCS was 32. And the combined age was 95. So there we go.
Young and sprightly.
Yeah. All right, cool. So well done to them. We'll talk more about La Masia as we go. But those were our two debutantes, and here we go. Group A, Swiss. This is what it looked like, and yeah, I mean it pretty much. So I will tell you what kind of stands out for me, Pyro, and I don't know if there are any particular standouts for you. But the continuing struggle of rising esports, Eagle, Hello,
that was my first thought. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so rough, and I'm not sure. I mean, Eagle put out an apology tweet, which always breaks my heart to see, where, you know, players sort of apologizing for poor performances and so on. But man, it has really been and continues to be a huge struggle for them.
Surprises me a lot. You know, because it wasn't too long since we were celebrating Eagle's first top 8, and we had, you know, his face cam on the screen while they were playing, which was just like, oh yeah, this is, you know, it looked like Eagle really belonged in that conversation. And now, you know, no top 16 is very, very tough because the talent seems to be there.
Yes.
And yeah, this is the wildest part. I say it probably every single podcast, but now we need to, you know, swallow the reality that we only have a 2-split season. And I hope we get to at least get some excitement with the 2v2 and the 1v1 action that will be forthcoming. But yeah, I am sad to see that is the end of the story for Rising, because we had big hopes for them and the Reunion boys.
And yeah, well, listen, we'll talk more about rosters as we go, but BTF Esports formerly broke Crows. I mean, they did what you'd expect, doing even better, going through Swiss 9-0. They didn't drop a single game, and neither did Five Fears. So BTF looking really good, really strong. I'm trying to see if there was. Oh, the other was Midwest Mafia, who continued. They are still a team I've not completely made my mind up about. Clearly a good team, but I'm not sure where they fit in the broader SSA context yet. Similar to HSK, Team HSK. You know, these are good players, but where are they? What are they? What, you know? Where do they fit? And I still remain unsure.
Yeah, Bigfoot, like, really, I don't know. Bigfoot's in this like category of players that surprised me a lot in RLCS 2026. And like going into the season, I kind of knew that we'd get some surprise stories because of the way that this 2/3 role made up for like elevating the skill floor of these teams. But this has really just been a jump pad for some teams and some players. And I think in yellow, squatting up with Ducklas and Bigfoot is a really good example. Midwest Mafia is a hard one to make out as well. We already have Daps in chat saying, whoa, don't blame us for taking a loss against Midwest Mafia going to round 5 of Swiss. I changed my settings. Okay, man, you know, there's always an excuse. There's always something. I mean, at this point, we got to ask Graybeard what his excuse is for not getting to top 16. I'm sure he's got something too.
Yeah, no, well, listen, Synthesis have had some good runs through Swiss. They've 3-0'd Swiss. They've done unsynthesis things in that regard, but this was the most Synthesis run of all. Not only did they go to round 5, Pyro, they had to reverse sweep in round 5 to make it through Swiss. I mean, honestly, the longest possible route. But Daps, we will say this, you did make it through, so well done.
You know what, and I got a lot of, well, I didn't really, but I noticed that I was hammering away at Synthesis a bit much on the main broadcast last time. It's funny because I was actually trying to elevate their position. I'm like, hey, it was a really tough Open 4. This is your chance to go big in Open 5. Like, I was trying to hype them up, but it came more of like a criticism. You guys aren't doing me favors here. You're not doing me any favors to try to help you out with this. But true to the synthesis name, true to the Genesis name, Graybeard all the way through Swiss.
Yeah, but they're through the longest standing duo in RLCS of Daps and Declan make it through. So in round 3, 5 Fears and BTF cleared Swiss, eliminated. I am sad to report. Oh, no. I was going to say fellow kids, but we made it through round 3 because of that DQ. But Acid Esports and Falcons. And Falcons, they were a suspect team. They didn't show up. And they have been stripped of prize winnings and titles, which is good to hear. And then round 4, Midwest Mafia. And this is, I mean, a classic example of where does Midwest Mafia fit in. They beat Synthesis in 5 to get out of Swiss in round 4. So, I mean, that is really, really good. And Team HSK beating the Punishers to get out of Swiss in round 4. So it just further, it almost underlines my statement of where do these guys fit in? They're good, but how good?
It makes it almost impossible to say. It really does. Also, you have Project One. I mean, they're the team that beat Rising in a sweep, and then they take LFO to game number 5. I mean, we really are leveling the playing field at the end of this season between a lot of these teams. And I mean, man, this is such a long jump. But if you want to fast forward to RLCS 2027, making projections on the new lineups for teams and how they're going to perform makes it really difficult when you look at results like this.
Now,
look at that final round of Swiss. All the games went to game 5.
Yeah. That is a very good point. I mean, I put these scores in, but I've just noticed that. That is actually amazing. And unfortunately, none of those. Oh no, I will tell you this about my RLCS experience. I was amazed at how exhausted I was at the end of it, because my original plan was I assumed we would go out in round 3 or 4. But by the time we were out, I was so tired. I was like, I just couldn't bear the thought of staying on stream for another hour. I was like, I got to go to bed. So I
Jerome's in chat saying it's tiring, and I believe it.
Man.
My only relation to this is I've played in some creator tournaments, and like they have money assigned to them. Like I had a tournament where I was teamed up with Basilisk. I don't know if you know him as a Rocket League content creator, but he's been at SSL for ages, right?
Yeah.
And we have like a decent chance of winning. The pressure, the way that my heart is pounding, the amount of focus I'm giving to every individual play, and the worry that I have of every little mistake that I could make. I mean, it compounds.
Yeah, no, it is. So it was good to experience that, because you've often heard about players talking about Swiss and how tiring Swiss is, and it's very weird because there's long waiting periods. So you go, if you're a team like Midwest Mafia or Synthesis and you're going to game 5 a lot and going to round 5, I mean it is so much Rocket League. I mean, it's and then there's the weird waiting period because you wait for other series to finish. And then in our case, we had a DQ. So there was like 40 minutes of kind of, and that I will say was a mistake. We should have played, even if it was just ranked or what. I mean, I literally sat watching other streams. So I was completely cold. Not that it would have made a difference. And I will say this, round 4 is when fellow kids, my team went out against Team ALH, and I was very surprised by them. And just because they were so much better than I was expecting, because it was Orkwax, and I can't remember what team he was on previously. He's an EU player, Lorax and Hapik, and they're good players within the game, but I was surprised at how good they were, and I was very impressed. And to add to your point of next season, the potential of Lorax and Hapik, and what they can bring next season. But but we did take a game against them, and we also took a game against LFO, I will say, in round 2, I think, which was pretty cool. So those were our 2 highlights of the day. But then, okay, Midwest Mafia, Team HSK, and 7x7. I'm trying to remember who's on that roster. has escaped me.
7x7 I just had. They are Strudek Tristan Twinser.
Oh, okay, good. Well, good for them. They did quite well, clearing there and looking for Org. Make it out of Swiss. They do go round 5 to a game 5 against Project 1, but they get themselves into GSL, and then the Punishers beating 3-1. So that was Group A, Swiss, and then. Achilles, yes, it is just me and Pyro. Bromeo had other commitments, but he will be on the broadcast this weekend. If you need to scratch your Bromeo itch, and then Swiss Group B, and you can see the first round went to the seeds. I mean, there were no surprises there. Yeah, I mean that just. And it is a little confusing, though, because of all the changes. Like you see Death Cloud Esports there, but it's not. I mean, this is the third iteration of Death Cloud Esports this season.
Yeah, it like in a way, I just want to focus on those teams that like did stay together because that's what makes sense in my mind. You have Pioneers and Rounds. Those are probably, when you look at all the teams in there. And truly, the rosters within those teams, like Astronic is different. Death Cloud is different. Those are kind of teams that you believe to get to that late stage. Rounds going to game 5s, but winning when it matters most. And so those are really your top 2 teams of this group. I am pretty curious, though, these new renditions of Astronic and Death Cloud, like what we'll see from them. I'm curious, like, who do you put to have more potential in this event, Graybeard? Is it Astronic, who built around Inspire, or is it Tweaks getting added to this Death Cloud roster with Cam and Karka?
Of the two, I think Death Cloud are more likely to make a top 4 than Astronic are. I think they're around 60. Maybe as high as 70% to get through GSL, and we'll see the GSL groups in a moment, and then I might readjust my my dire prediction of them. But of the two, I think they're the better. And then I don't know about this Le Passion team of the Remnants team, the scattered Remnants. That's Stake, Devour, and
Nitro.
There we go. So I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I mean, they have made it. I mean,
I have
GSL.
high expectations for them. I actually do. I mean, again, it's just sad that these teams didn't stay together for one more event. We just needed to see the conclusion of this season. Like it's all completely scattered. It does make it fun. We will have a fun energy to this event. That's what's exciting about it. But man, it does feel like, you know, I'm reading the storybook and the last 3 pages were just cut out with scissors. And it's like, where to go? So it's a mess. But yeah, Le Passion is going to be a team that I think everyone will have some difficulties with.
All right, then looking so, and rounds getting better and better. I mean, clearing Swiss 3-0. I mean, they had to work for it. They had a game 5, a 4-gamer, a 5-gamer, a 4-gamer. So they worked. But as you pointed out, winning the games they had to and getting out of Swiss 3-0, which is pretty damn good. And then eliminated in round 3 were another suspect team and then a team called Next. Round 4, the Wave, Stanislas. Eliminated were Mzansi Magicians, Doing It for Apocalyptics, and AAA Batteries. And falling. Oh, and then I'm just trying to see Stanislas, the young reunion team. They made top 16 in Open 5. They fall short in round 5, going to game 5, though, with White Rabbit Gaming. So coming close. And Unity, the only team that is represented in every single RLCS since SSA was included. They don't make it out of Swiss. But then La Masia with our debutants, Minoto and Dreezy and Sully making it out. So, yeah, there we go. I think Astronic beating White Rabbit Gaming. I don't know if that was satisfying for Galaxy. Well, he wasn't. He was on White Rabbit. He left White Rabbit. He wasn't kicked from them. No, where was... Oh, that's right. He left up. He left WRG to go and be a sub on Cosmica, right?
That's exactly correct. Yep.
Oh, and that remains season 2026's most baffling move.
I hosted show matches for White Rabbit Gaming with Galaxy, and they looked great. Galaxy, Banana Cat, Wee Casper. I love that team, and I'm like, I'm even gonna put you on my freaking projections. I'm excited. And then Galaxy's like, nah, I'm gonna be a sub, bro. Yeah, I'm not getting into this again. It makes me frustrated. So yeah. I did want to say though, so Marine Region getting the win, like, it's tough for Unity. It does kind of let's kind of show a different like new age of SSA. The fact that Lackstar Friction and company aren't getting top 16 makes me sad. But for Marine Region, was Ram on this team last event?
No,
no, he wasn't, because it was Eliakim's brother.
Correct. Ram replaced Dalton.
Yeah, so Ram top 16.
Yeah. Ram in the top 16.
Woo! I mean, it's not that long ago since we were like, put Ram on a top team, because this guy has some of the best like off the ball presence, seems to have a lot of really good game sense to be where they need to be at the right time. And yeah, I'm excited. This Marine Region squad of Pingu, like him, and Ram is pretty cool.
So this is my take on SSA broadly coming to the last regional of the season. This has been our best season in terms of our top 12. It feels like there's a lot more competition in that top 12. As for the rest, now we got to, in my mind, as we go into the off season, we've got to build up the base, like the foundation of our Rocket League, because as much fun as it is that me making a run to go to top 32, it should not be possible. The state of the game should be such that there's just no room for a fun run like that, and it highlights that. So that sort of 12 to 30 is where we need to start filling it up with. We need to have a huge number of youngsters coming into the game, filling that up, and so that making top 32 becomes harder and harder and harder. And top 16 is a huge achievement, and top 8 is like, oh my God, you're doing incredible. But there's been massive improvement in terms of that top part of the pyramid, at least, where it doesn't feel like we've got one really good team, 4 not so bad teams, and then a scattering of the rest. It feels like we've probably got 10 good teams, and we're building around that. I don't know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I want to follow up with a question for you. I mean, and I'm so glad you got the context built by that experience of like where people are in that top 32 range. Now that the season is over, in terms of registering for the tournaments, like the numbers, do you feel like we hit a benchmark that we were aiming for coming into this season of like signups and how that went for the SSA region for RLCS SSA?
So we're in that weird position of the 2 region unlock seasons, which were kind of weird to benchmark anything. So I looked at it with our first 2 seasons. So I benchmarked this season against our first 2 seasons just to see growth. And we were averaging I think our highest number of signups prior to 2024 was 58. This season we had in the hundreds. The first open of any split tends to be quite high, so those were in the hundreds, and then it was sort of 90s, 80s. So there's absolutely a huge improvement from the first 2 seasons. So it is growing. But I do think, again, the off-season work now in terms of community stuff, Six Mans, Rising Star Academy, all of our community efforts, I'd like to see at the start of the 2027 season that we jump that to sort of the base being, let's call it 120 would be amazing. Like that's the average number of signups for an open.
So, okay, it sounds like the trajectory in terms of like, I think having those signups means that there are more people at that base that you're trying to elevate in terms of quality. That is trending up. So I think everything's in the right direction. But yeah, the cultivation, the development of that part of the player base definitely needs attention. And I think that's a great point going into the off season.
Yeah, so that so you get competitive pressure from the top, like 5 years going to majors, going to worlds, and getting that international experience. But those top teams need to start feeling big pressure from below them. Teams like BTF, teams like Death Cloud, or whichever rosters can stay together long enough to really start to put pressure on Guns and Sweaty and to die for. So we want to see that top being squeezed from both ends, which I think will be very good for us.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
It would be very good, and that's further evidenced by how North America looks right now. Finally, NRG is not this shoe-in for the winner of the regional or even grand finals, and it's making the region way more competitive and exciting. So, agreed.
Oh, and that is good to see. I was very surprised by NRG's struggle there. And then while we're talking about it, Europe seems a little bit sort of crowded at the top. Like there's one of like four to six teams that may win any given regional.
Gentlemates won the major, and then they didn't even make top 8 for Open number 4. Now for Open 5 this past weekend that just wrapped up, they win Open 5. So that it's another case of the top being challenged. And it's exactly what you're asking for as a part of SSA and something to achieve. And it just makes for a really, really exciting event because you don't have that typical, here's the best team, let's wait till grand finals to see if they're tested.
I like Borky's comment in chat. This is the only things guaranteed in life is death, Unity Game 5, and Unity Heartbreak. I feel you, Borky. Okay, well, here are the matchups for Friday night. GSL Group A, Five Fears, La Masia, Death Cloud Esports, Midwest Mafia, Pioneers, The Punishers, Team HSK, White Rabbit Gaming. Group B rounds, LFO, 7x7, La Passion, BTF, Marine Region, Astronic, and Synthesis. So let's start with Group A. Pyro, your thoughts, and while we're about it, who do you see making the top 6 run out of that first round?
Has it been a majority of the time that Five Fears and Pioneers end up in the same group?
Yes,
yeah,
it has.
So,
I think it was only Open 1 where they were in different groups.
Which is wild because I feel like that's totally unexpected. Now, granted, like the way it's set up, they're still not going to play each other, right?
Yes.
So how much does it matter that they're even in the same group? I'm not really sure. It just makes it kind of tragic if you are in that group. Okay, good luck in the lower bracket, right? You're not.
Yes.
It's probably not going to happen in the uppers. So yeah, Five Fears Pioneers, they'll do their work. Yeah, Death Cloud are still going to make their way through that matchup against Midwest Mafia. I do have like a +1, +2 in my mind about Midwest Mafia right now because their Swiss did look great. It's not like a one-off performance from them, but I still rate the quality highly of this Death Cloud roster. And then give me HSK, like give me HSK. They have performed. It's not going to be a first time for them in the top 8. I'd be interested to see if they could make it again. Can they get through the Punishers, and Midwest Mafia is going to be the question.
Well, I think, okay, well, I see Minoto's arrived in chat, so we're talking about him and his team La Masia playing Five Fears. So good luck, Minoto. That's going to be fun for you, but I reckon Five Fears take that easily. And then Death Cloud, Midwest Mafia. I do have Death Cloud, but a huge question mark. Midwest Mafia can upset there. I strongly believe. But I do think they take it. They're Pioneers, Punishers. That's an easy one. HSK White Rabbit. Yeah, I'm probably leaning toward you as well on Team HSK. But so there are two matches there that are almost coin flips, almost. With 1.5 heads on each coin.
So close. Yeah,
Yes.
I'd say Group A, the summary here is that Group A feels a little more convincing of results than Group B. Like when you get to Group B.
Yeah, well, let's get to Group B, Pyro. Go.
Okay. All right. Let's get to Group B. Let's talk about it. So rounds have this opportunity, and we talked about this last podcast of like, okay, we're putting you in tier C, of our rankings of these teams, but with another consistent top result, we'll put you in that group of teams right under Five Fears Pioneers. So that's our opportunity for this event in our minds, is to say, okay, we've seen all these teams, maybe grab a top 4, maybe grab a top 6, prove it's not a fluke. I don't believe it is a fluke. I really think they can do it again. Looking for Org, probably not coming into this with the best amount of confidence, considering Greybeard did take a game off of them, but just messing. But I think it'll still be fun, and I always want to see Wordy succeed. If I had to rapid fire predictions for these, I would go Rounds, La Passion, BTF, and Synthesis.
To me, the obvious teams, the 4 teams to battle for a top 6 spot will be Synthesis, BTF. I don't know if there's an obvious one in the La Passion 7x7, and then Rounds. So there's three teams that should be certainties, and nothing is certain when you come to this event in Rocket League. But it should be Rounds, BTF, Astronic. However, I don't know if we've
Rounds,
ever
BTF,
had
Synthesis. I think you said Astronic, but Rounds, BTF,
yes,
Synthesis.
I meant Synthesis. Yeah. The old Astronic, yes. But I don't think in this season we've had a GSL group where in the first round any result is possible. I mean, it would be an upset if Marine beat BTF, but it's possible.
Yeah, it is. No, I'm looking at every single game, and I wouldn't be completely blown out of the water if any team won in Group B. That is kind of the point I was making, is Group B is really exciting to me. And this goes back to your conversation of like, hey, the top 12 right now in SSA are pretty competitive against each other. And Group B exemplifies that very well.
All righty. Well, there we go.
Sorry, final comment. You even have Twinzer on 7x7, right? And Twinzer has very consistently posted great results in SSA. So he could even give La Passion a tough time. We'll see.
I mean, if you think, in my mind, so one of the things that I'm assuming that high level teams, and when I say high level in the SSA context, Five Fears, Pioneers, BTF, the old Death Cloud, but that was actually proven not true in our conversation. I'll come to that. I assume at the higher levels that there are conversations about strategy, about how we're going to approach games. I was amazed in my very brief experience in this, that it seems to be more of a case of, hey, show up and Do your like what Declan has said. You just show up and do your best.
I know.
I'm like, and so with that in mind, I think about this new Death Cloud roster, the Le Passion roster, 7x7, which are Lamasia. I don't know how long they've been together. Sully was with Thrive to Greatness. So I'll include them in the category. They're effectively like pickup rosters for the last regional. Hey, let's go out there and see what we can do. And because of that, because of the lack of like depth of knowing teammates and play styles and all of that, it makes them unpredictable. They may be out of this world amazing, but they could also be horrendous.
And that is the chaos factor of Open 6 summarized.
Yeah, and that's going to be the last. And I wish I'd actually screen grabbed the standings, because the standings are crazy, because you've got 5 Fears on something like 71 points, Pioneers on 60 or something like that. And then the next highest is Rounds on 15, because all these teams lost their RLCS points. And I get it.
It is abysmal. Yeah.
Which I had a question, and this came up on stream yesterday. Shouldn't there be it doesn't have to be huge, but some sort of financial incentive for where you finish in the region standings in the top 8? Like if you finish top, there's an additional $2,000 if you did, and it kind of goes down. And so if you, like we've just seen here, you blow all your points, well, then you're getting no money. And it'll go to the other teams that did stay together but that would have finished up to 15th place.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm with you, because finding some kind of incentive for these teams to stick together does make sense to me. I think that might have to come down to orgs like building out contracts and making it as incentivizing as possible for these teams to stick together. It's very difficult at the esports level to say, without franchising, right?
Yes.
To say, oh, hey, we're going to make this, as strict as possible. I actually think the open format does favor the esport and the player to have that kind of freedom to continue, because who knows what happens between teams and the play and the decisions that players make, right? So I think it comes down to that sort of. I do want to have another conversation related to points, unless you had something.
No, let's go. I'm down.
So, and especially with this bracket up,
if you want the bracket back?
No. What we have here is great. The group A, group B. What is the ideal path for Pioneers that they can hope for to make it to major? Because it's not impossible. I know in our minds we're saying, 5 Fears got it. But if some miracle happened, what would it be?
Well, it's one of those situations where it's completely out of their hands, and they're relying on 5 Fears to have a catastrophic turnout. So I think what would have to happen, because I think 5
it's
Fears
actually completely out of their hands, it looks like.
100%. 5 Fears have to crash out, I think, before top 4. So if that's going to happen, they can't go. They're going to have to either. They're going to have to lose. Well, they're going to have to lose twice. Once in GSL and then once in top 8 or top 6. So they'll have to lose 2 series.
Right. Yeah, they have to. But I'm trying to say, is there any way that Pioneers can
not without 5 Fears crashing out? Pioneers will have to win the whole thing, and 5 Fears would have to crash out before top 4.
I know that. I'm saying that, is there any way for them to be responsible for one of 5 Fears crashing out? And I don't think there is. Because even if Pioneers don't qual through uppers, they go on the top side.
I see what you're saying.
Okay, so I'm just going to say this. Pioneers can snipe 5 Fears. the way they do that, and obviously I have to
hold on.
with this
Before you do that, I want to see if I want to get the whole bracket up on the screen. So give me a second. So
okay, go for it.
So people can follow your nefarious train of thought.
Yes. So on the point of it being nefarious, I won't talk about the path yet. I will just say this is all theory based. And this is all for just following along in the case that it could happen. In no way am I encouraging such a practice of trying to follow this path, because it would involve Pioneers losing the upper semis. But I'll wait for the bracket to come up.
It's about to come up. And if all's going well, it'll No,
Ashy, I do not want anyone getting banned. I want the fans to have an understanding of what it would take for Pioneers to make major, because that's what you're looking for.
All right, there we go. We've got the 2 GSL groups up on screen. And then the top 8, the top 12 bracket for Saturday below there, or the top. Wait,
I still have just groups.
Do you know what? You won't see that. Let me do this.
I can just show the bracket.
Yes, show the
my own way.
Okay,
sure. So we're both showing the bracket. That's great. Well, I'm not quite yet. Okay, that's fine. So what I was going to say is, listen, Pioneers don't even have to do anything nefarious. What needs to happen here is Pioneers would win both of their matches against the Punishers and then maybe Team HSK. Five Fears would have to win against La Masia and lose against the Death Cloud Esports. If that happens, okay, Pioneers would go to the upper bracket. Five Fears would go to the lower bracket. And if Pioneers lose that upper match, they would play Five Fears in that lower quarterfinals.
Okay, I'm actually just going to model it right now. 5 Fears 0, Death Cloud 3. Pioneers would have to win that one.
I feel like Charlie Day and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the billboard in the background and the yarn and all the complications and calculations behind him. Like, if this happens and that happens, then it could actually work out.
Oh God, I think I'd have to do this entire bracket. So if Five Fears lose in GSL, they would go to, where would they
go to lower round 1 at the top side.
So let's say they beat Punishers here. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So if this happens, so if Five Fears were to lose in round 2 to Death Cloud and then win their lower semifinal game, they would then go to lower round 1 on Saturday against somebody, and let's say they win that and Pioneers
lose.
Oh, Pioneers lose.
Yes.
Okay, so Pioneers would have to lose their upper quarter final. Five Fears win their lower round 1. Then Pioneers would meet in the lower quarters. And if Pioneers beat Five Fears there and went on to win, they could snipe Paris.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how the points go at that point. They'd either be tied with Five Fears for then a tiebreaker, or they'd be beating them. I'm not totally sure. But
it would be one or the other, yeah.
Right. So that could be true, or the inverse could be true, where in Group A, Pioneers lose their upper semis, and they hope that Five Fears lose their upper quarters. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Okay.
So the inverse could also be true but basically Pioneers, they need to pray that Five Fears either lose their upper semis in groups or they lose their upper quarters in in that top 8 playoffs, because that is the only way that they can match up against them. So just putting that out there, that is, 5 fears in a lot of people's minds are going to Paris Major, are going to Worlds, because they absolutely clobbered Pioneers in both of their grand finals. And they do feel like the team that deserves it at that point. But that is the only way that we could realistically see that changing.
Yeah. And, I think we all acknowledge that it would have to be a catastrophic failure on the part of 5 fears in the end. I mean, they would have to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. But I think it's worth emphasizing that it is not mathematically locked. They haven't clinched it. If they'd clinched it,
exactly,
they wouldn't even have to be playing this weekend. They could literally Guns could go to Cape Town and meet his girlfriend and not play. And they would be going to Paris and Worlds. That's not the case. They do have to play. They do have to make it to minimally top 4. Then it's clinched. Then it's guaranteed. So maybe they make it to the semifinals and then go party. Who knows? But they would have to get that far.
Still stakes to our Open 6.
Yeah, and then I don't know. It feels like we're really late in the day, Pyro, to not have details about the 1v1 and 2v2.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure what details have been presented already. Because I was watching Open 5 for EU on the mainstream, and I was watching, they pulled up the whole calendar and they said from this month to that month, 2v2 and 1v1 are happening before Worlds. I don't remember what else they really mentioned about it.
Do you remember what months they were?
Basically I'm pretty sure it's just between the Paris Major and Worlds.
Oh, so it's going to be after Paris.
I believe so.
Wow. Okay. Well, on the plus side, that does at least give us something to do between Major and Worlds. something to be interested in. And what we don't know is what the rules are going to be around 2v2 and 1v1 when it comes to regions. Like, is it going to be does it have to be 1/2 teams? And are the 1v1s going to be open, or is it going to be locked to EU players who have already played in SSA?
Yeah, there's also LCQ in September, but obviously that only goes to 4 different regions. A lot of people think that's just between OCE and SAM to see who gets that 4th region spot to have LCQs in September. Obviously, APAC or SSA could pop off in Major too, but it's worth mentioning.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it in terms of RLCS. We have one more broadcast this weekend. Friday. Sadly, I won't be playing in GSL, so I will be watch partying it. And I see Six has arrived in chat, and he says, "Fellow kids, top 8 next season." And it's a great dream, Six. The problem is you've retired. So what am I supposed to do now? Pick up Devour.
Right. That's
so. Yeah. What happened with 5 Fears stream? There was no 5 Fears stream this weekend.
They never do a stream for Swiss, which, I mean, in fairness, they did go 9-0.
Oh, that's GSL that they stream. Okay, so are you going to be doing the 5 Fears stream?
So. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. All right, Ash. Now, Ashy Page is also in chat. And Ashy, I saw that you're a sub for a team. Is it La Masia? What team are you a sub on, Ashy? Please do let me know. And Six, I appreciate the offer, but I'm going to need you to actually play Rocket League between now and then and not come in cold. Oh, okay, Minotaur confirms that Ashy Pager is the sub for them, which is pretty cool. So we might see Ashy Pager making his debut if Minotaur gets a little under the weather on Friday.
Okay, all right.
And then I did want to give a quick shout out to. So there's a couple of announcements to make. The first is that in the interests of starting to promote 6-mans and getting a bit of a vibe going in 6-mans, on Wednesday night from 6:30 until whenever, I'm going to be queuing up in 6-mans and streaming. So if you want to get into six mans and come and play on stream, I think it'll be pretty groovy, and hopefully we can get a bunch of rank C scrubs into six mans on Wednesday to come and play, to have a night of Rocket League on stream. So from 6:30 on Wednesday, you can come and play. So if you are in and around rank C and six mans, make sure you are joined up, verified, and you queue up on Wednesday night. And then I wanted to give a shout out to Flocy, who Flocy's been quite active in the scene, in particular with RSC, both in RSC SSA and RSC EU. And he was part of a franchise, Team MVP, who took the crown for the prospect tier in EU last night. So shout out to him, and then also shout out to Raids, who often has produced this podcast, has produced a bunch of team streams for RLCS SSA. He did my team stream. And he was in the prospect tier for RSC EU, and they got to the grand finals. Clearly, they didn't win, unless Team MVP is his team, and I'm not sure. But well done, Flocy, managing a franchise and getting a crown. Shout out to him. He's Pyro in SSA or RSC lore. He's one of those guys who finishes second a lot.
Yeah. To finally get that breakthrough has to feel great. Congrats, Felicity.
Yeah, so shout out to him. And then I think that is it. And then in the broader Rocket League world, it is now April, so we are expecting easy anti-cheat to show. Pyro, have you run into bots in your games?
Yes, I have a hilarious story about running into a bot. This Rocket League, if you don't mind, I had a crazy Rocket League game.
No, please, bots. Let's go.
So I'm playing ranked 2v2. This is on stream, and I queue up against two bots. We immediately go down 0-3, like within 30 seconds. My teammate is PO'd. He's like, what the heck? Abandons match. So I'm in a 1v2.
Yeah.
The thing about the bots is they're programmed to score immediately. So if I move off the kickoff, they'll score right away. Yeah. And if I don't skip the replay, it's like an extra 10 or so seconds. So guess what I'm doing? I am missing every kickoff. So only a second goes down off the clock in this 1v2, and then we wait another 10 on the replay. Basically, I'm holding these bots captive in the match for as long as possible. If I keep this up, it's going to go 30 to 40 minutes long. The scores may be 10-1, 10-2. And one of the bots gets kicked for being AFK because they stopped moving one of the bots because it was getting so idle and dull. So now it's a 1v1.
Yeah.
And I'm against this bot in a 1v1. He kind of toggles the bot on and off so that he doesn't keep making the goals, so that the time doesn't keep continuing. But instead, I score on him. So the score gets up to like 22-8. And it's been going on forever. It's been going on for 15 minutes at least. This guy finds my stream, chats in my Twitch chat, and says, what do you want from me? I'm like, just forfeit. Give me the win, and I will stop holding you captive. And he does. He forfeits. I win the game against the bots. No joke. I won the game against the bot after keeping him captive for over 20 minutes. There was still 3 minutes left on the clock, and we were like 20 minutes into the game. I was like, I'm going to waste your time, or you're going to give me the win. So it was a very, it was a cathartic experience for sure. I'm not really high enough in the rank ladder. I'm GC1 to like play consistently against bots.
Yes.
But the story around this right now is that people don't believe that EAC is going to stop them. They've had so much time to work around what is expected with easy anti-cheat, and there's not a lot of optimism that it's going to solve the problem, but it's kind of a wait and see.
And it's now the 13th of April, and it's supposed to be April that we're getting it. But there's been, I've not seen any announcement on when it's actually happening, if it's going to be the last day in April or April at all. So you don't have any information.
No, I do not.
Okay, well, I guess the hope is that it at least slows them down. Like it puts, it's almost like, security of anything is you want to you want to put as many barriers as possible. There will always be people who will do what they can to overcome whatever barriers are there, but it gets exponentially less the more barriers you have. So, someone tweeted a screenshot of a bot Discord, where you can go and buy the bots or however it works. And it's like 4,000 people in this Discord server. And I'm not.
No, it's gotten so bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finish your thought. Sorry.
No. I'm just surprised that there isn't a mechanism for Epic or Psyonix to go and shut this shit down. I mean, it's so flagrant that they've got this. They're just flaunting this Discord server.
We are in a very weird position of the game where we saw an insane rise in popularity to getting to like 1 million concurrent players, but we also have an influx of these bots making the game impossible to play for high-level players.
Yes.
So people will say that doesn't matter because, a ton of people are playing the game. Who cares if it's less than 1% of people that can't play the game? You don't realize those are the content creators. Those are the people that are making this game relevant and interesting. Like in this day and age, that kind of stuff matters a lot. It's also the pros, right? So yeah, there's going to be a fatigue to the game that is experienced if this bot circumstance gets exacerbated to the point where, it's not going to be pretty. So I don't know. Either it gets solved or the problem worsens. I have no idea what to expect this month, but I'm definitely anticipating the EAC. We're not, though, as Graybeard as producers, because that does mean that our fancy assets are null and void.
Which will be unfortunate because, however, I'm going to Paris, which I'm very excited about. And if you saw my tweet earlier today, I had to shell out a fairly substantial amount of money for hotels and stuff. So I'm hurting from that. But having now done that, I'm very excited about going to the major, and my main priority is to find the right people to understand how the whitelisting process is going to work, so that it's going to be easy for RLCS and Jamaican Coconut and Rocket Baguette, all the big names in the scene. I think they will get their white labeling fairly easily, but people like you, Pyro, and me, how do we continue to do cool shit on content? So hopefully I will come back from Paris with answers.
That'd be good. I heard rumblings that not even high-level content creators are going to quote unquote get that pass, and that they're only going to give them out based on events. So say you can sign up to be producing this RLCS Open team stream. Okay. We're going to, on this day or at this time frame, give you a key to have that modding privilege. That is not verified whatsoever. I think that's like an idea that I heard in the ether. So we'll have to see how that actually works.
All right. And I really, really hope it makes a difference to the bot situation because, that's really, really unfortunate to have to deal with. All right, cool. Well, I do believe that brings us to the end of this week's Rocket League news. One more open to discuss. That'll be next Monday. And then we await the arrival of the 1v1 and the 2v2 RLCS. And I believe there will be broadcast for that, or at least I hope there will be. If not, we will make something happen without our assets.
That's right. We'll make something happen. I did look at the dates, by the way, June and July for 2v2 and 1v1.
I didn't know it was that late. Okay, that's amazing. Okay, yeah. I just didn't read.
So it is after the Paris Major.
After the Paris Major, but before Worlds. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, well then June and July, there'll be some fun to look forward to there. But then, Wednesday night I'll be streaming Six Mans. So come and let's have a blast in 6 man. Pyro, are you going to be Are you carrying on with your stream?
I am, but Devour is actually live. I found out.
Then I'm going to put you in the very awkward position of you make the call.
Please go raid Devour. Please go ahead. That's it. No, I would love that. Devour __RL.
All right. Well, we'll go and raid him. Now, amazingly, we had so I got a notification that Daps was live, and then about 20 minutes later, I got a notification that Guns was live. And then so I went to Daps's stream, and he was playing Tekos and Guns. So not only did we have 2 guys streaming, they were streaming the same game at the same time, which was pretty epic. So shout out to them for streaming. And yeah, we will go and raid Devour. If I can find him. Oh, there he is. There he is. So let's go and raid Devour. Go and say, how's it? Wish him luck with La Passion and encourage him to do more streaming. And that's going to wrap it up. Maybe Bromeo will be back next Monday. Otherwise, it'll be Pyro and I solo queuing the podcast. But until then, thanks everybody for coming to hang. We shall see you. Well, I will see you this Friday for the watch party. You'll see Pyro. He's going to be team streaming 5 Fears. And then the big broadcast on Supersport and ACGL Twitch this weekend. And then the podcast next Monday. But until we see you again, from me, Greybeard, and Pyro J, peace.
Peace.
Oh my God. And Devour's got a face cam. Jesus. Miracles never cease.
He does.
That is crazy.
I'm keeping the live going.